Hello everybody and welcome to Greg's Vintage Workshop, where I'm working to restore history one piece at a time. Tonight we're going to be looking at part 5 of the Grunow console radio, the 1151/11B. And in part 5, unfortunately, I found some of the RF coils bad, really bad. More than one. There was actually two of them, two assemblies that were bad, that I wind up having to rewind and get that all back together again. And of everything I've worked on as far as radios, getting that assembly out of that radio and back in is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. But we got her together. So we're going to see now at the end of that, when I fire it up, if I've got a piece of junk on my hands that's going to be a shelf queen, or if it actually works. So without further ado, let's get started. Yeah, I had actually missed this one capacitor can here. It's called the small can. It's got 2.02 microfarad capacitors in it. I've done cut the wires off. There's a rivet here on this side and one on the opposite side that I'm going to take my die grinder and grind the heads off and see if I can get this off of here so I can get it apart and restuff it. This is probably going to be a soldered can, but I'll see if I can't get it apart. Make something for it, put the O2s in it. Yeah, so on the schematic here, here's that first little .02 capacitor, O2C for the can, right here. Look at here for the number 1 tube on the antenna end of the circuit. And then the other one is right here. There's the other one for the number 2 tube, O2C. That's them in the circuit. So I wound up taking this whole plate off of here, along with the 2 mica caps. I couldn't get in to grind the rivets off. Didn't want to have to take the whole thing off, but oh well. It'll make it easier, I guess, in the long haul. Well, I got it off of the mounting surface, and I heated it up with my heat gun, and it was a tar block. There was a little rivet middle that I had to grind off. It's got some sort of a phenolic plate here that each one is going to, and it's obviously soldered to the can because that's where it's grounded to the chassis. So I'm going to try and see if I can't come up with something similar 3D printed. So this is the .022 that I'm putting in there, 2 of these. Threw a little coat of paint on that, make it look a little bit better. And then I printed out this piece to go inside there. It holds both caps in there. It's got the path for the caps to come out, as well as for the one to come over and tie together right here. And then those will hook right here. But I made it just a little too long, so I'm reprinting it with it shorter. Took off about 2 millimeters on each side. Once I get that in, we'll put that together and I'll bring it back. So there it is. Turned out pretty good. I'm real happy with that. Just get it back on the board now and put it back in the radio. And there it is, all attached. Ready to go back in there. Alright, there she is, back in place. Everything back in circuit. That should be good on that one. Well, I just got through pulling the selector switch and all the coils out and released this can, and it's not pretty. If you take a look down in there, we've got some major problems with a couple of those coils. Mainly this one right here and this one up here. Major big problems there. So let's get this other side over here off and see what we got over here. Well, luckily this other side over here looks pretty decent. I don't see anything going on there. Of course, I'll take my meter and check all these coils, but right now it looks like that one and that one are the two that are problem. So we'll check all the coils and repair as required. Okay, as you guys can see, I've got this coil rewound, and not the greatest job in the world, but I think I did a pretty good job. As you can see, there's 3 coils on here. The big one here, the littler one here, and the medium-sized one there. Now, it took some doing to figure this thing out, and I'm not 100% sure that it's 100% correct, that's for sure. But here was my drawing that I made so I would know what was what, and it had 1 good coil on it and 2 bad ones, and I wound it to the best of my ability by counting the turns. I noted the direction the windings came off, and that's the best I can do with it. Whether or not it works in the radio, I can't say it will, because I'm not 100% with my work as far as the windings and such, the number of turns and such. But with no documentation as far as ohms, as far as turns that I could find, I was left to my own abilities to count under microscope and etc., etc. It is what it is. I'll show you on the schematic which one this is. Okay, so it's this series of coils right here, the C and D oscillator primary, and the C secondary, and the D secondary oscillators. I figured out that D is actually the broadcast circuit, so that's the broadcast oscillator, and C is, I believe, a police channel or shortwave, one of the two, not positive, but that's that one. Now I gotta tackle the other one. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that this one, and I've got a bunch of that busted up looking plastic off of it, but I'm pretty sure that this one is the C and D BIS primary, the C and D BIS secondary, and it very well it may even be the C and D. Alright, so here it is, and looks to be a coil right here, looks to be a coil stacked on a coil right here. There's the bad coil. I believe it's part of this, although this one was covered with whatever that is on this wax. I guess it's probably wax that's gotten hard and brittle. And then it looks like there's something over here as well. But until I can look down inside with the microscope and start getting it apart, I'm not going to know exactly what I got here. This other one actually wound up having 2 different size wires on them. That's why there's 2 different colors that I've wound on there. One was 32 gauge and one was 34 gauge. So get started with this one. It's all may be for naught, because if I don't do these right, it's not going to work anyway. But it sure was not going to work the way it was, so I guess I'm not out nothing except my time. Okay, so I got the first big winding on there. It was 129 turns. I got it on there, and I put a layer of Kapton tape on it. I'm getting ready to run the second smaller coil, which is 10 turns, right in this vicinity right here. I'll get that done, I'll bring you back. Okay, there she is, all done. Coils back into the assembly. Coils all tested good. We'll put her together and see what we get, I guess. Okay, there they both are, reinstalled, that one and that one. Don't know if they're going to work, but I guess that's what we're going to find out. Now I got to try and get that back in, which is going to be a pain in the butt, but hopefully we can get it. Now, if I got all that done, hopefully I can get that back in. Not going to be easy. I'm going to have to rotate the tuning condenser up out of the way and things such as that. Also, while I had that off, I changed that particular resistor. It was double what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be 50,000. It was 91,000. So I put a 51,000 in there. Alright, I'll bring it back. Okay, so I got the coils and the selector switch all back on, and I'll tell you what, that was one of the biggest pains in the butt I've ever done. So you're going to hear noise in the background. One of my printers is printing. One of my newer printers I've got over there, called a A1 Mini. Anyway, got the speaker connected. I went ahead and I put the connector on there. I've got a meter here to monitor DC voltage. And now my furnace is kicking on because it's only about 8 degrees outside. So we're going to have that noise as well. But what I'm going to do, we're going to fire this thing up, attempt to fire it up. And I see it's either going to go up in flame, it's going to go up in smoke, it's going to do nothing, or it might work partially, or it might work completely. I don't know. We'll find out. Let's see what happens. I got to turn things on. Let's see. I got to turn this switch on here. Turn on my multifunction panel. Reset the breaker. So we're going through the circuit breaker. Putting it up slowly. Let's turn it on. I'm going to start bringing it up slowly. I guess I can turn the meter on. Let's see. Put this on DC volts. Like that. Let's put some voltage into it. Let's run it up to, say, 35 volts. So 35 volts, I can see. I'll move you over here. As I'll see that there's a little bit of dial lamp going through there. You guys can see more of this. In case anything bad happens, we'll catch it all on camera. Okay. Go ahead and turn it up to about 55 volts. Oh, we got some DC battery volts coming up. About 25 volts DC. It's stabilized, so let's take it up a little more. Let's take it up to 70 volts AC. DC's climbing. About 96, 97. And stabilized. And take it on up a little bit further. There's about 90 volts. Here's some hum. I'm going to flip the selector slip. Right now it's on the A position. There's the B position. C, D, well, we know the speaker works. I'm in the A position. I'm kind of rotating. We're getting something on the A channel. Let's put it on B. That's the B channel. Everything on the B channel. Have one spot that like I want to pick something up, but those, I think, pretty sure those are the shortwave channels. We're on the C channel. I don't see any smoke yet, so that's good. I don't smell anything burning. Let's try D channel. Something going on right there. I don't see smoke yet. At least it's not dead silent. Well, there's some.
Economic numbers we're seeing today, but rather than have Americans be super happy and gratified and eager to reelect Joe Biden, instead the big political fight is shifting on the cultural
Getting
parade.
station here.
Mask mandates and vaccines.
Well, the tone control's working.
Democrats fighting Anthony Fauci. That's where we are today. You know, economically better off, but still as Americans kind of angry at each other's throats. Do you think in any world, Josh, that would be a singular which is unite of each party? No, I used to, but I really don't. Because of the cultural angle. Yeah, I mean, look, you can look today at Donald Trump's policies and at Joe Biden's policies.
And we're still at 90 volts AC. Let me turn it up a little bit.
And a lot of the China policy, right now, Trump for his entire presidency said, you know, this is going to be infrastructure week. This is going to be infrastructure week. It never was. But Joe Biden got a lot of that passed and instituted. So there are certainly areas of overlap on economics. But as you said, culturally, I think the two parties are far apart than ever.
If the 2008 financial crisis hadn't happened, where might we be politically? Would we have seen this wave of populism?
I can't imagine that we would have. To me, I mean, my analysis of all the reporting and all the kind of historical data for the rebels was that we've seen this kind of populist backlash before, after the Great Depression in the 1940s. But if there hadn't been a crash in 2008,
we're at 106 volts input, 247 on the DC. But I realize I do have that dropping resistor in there too.
It's hard for me to imagine he would, but I wouldn't rule it out because Trump is such a natural entertainer. Not to go off in too big a digression. In the last book, Devil's Bargain, by the way,
there's 115 volts.
Chapter on how Trump, when he was on TV, had huge appeal to black audiences.
All right, well, good. So
I can imagine.
I guess we'll consider his first fire up a success here. Back out a little bit. You can see the dial lights on. It's all lit up. It's adjusting here. There's the tone control. Volume. And rise tuning. Alright, I think this would be a good spot to leave this particular one off. I'm going to try and align it with having rewound those coils and everything. I'm sure it needs to be aligned big time. But we're getting something on all 4 channels, so that's good. But say from Greg at Greg's Vintage Workshop, thanks for watching.